No,
Shit.
it's just three waiting. Yeah. Three
Okay, now
waiting.
we're live.
Yeah.
I went through all that for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have a 30-second delay
Oh,
on.
now we're live. Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
live.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, now we're live. Yeah, now we're live. Yeah, yeah. Let me see what our sound sounds like, and
That's a tribute to our old friend in London. Yeah. Yeah.
see what our
Yeah.
sound sounds like. Okay, I think we're okay. Yeah, if no sound here. David Barry says no sound here. I think you know what I did. I hit the live, and then it didn't go on. And then I put it
Yep.
to 30-second countdown, and I'm sitting there waiting like a dumbass.
David Barry. Yes. David. Are we live, David?
David, no sound here. Yeah, let me know if we're live, and just if we're. I think we are now, but
Yeah.
today we're going to talk a little bit about a lot of subjects. We're going to talk about mgtow mostly, and how mgtow can solve all the problems of the world. I
Pretty
don't think,
much.
yeah, but leaving it up to conservatism or traditionalism, you can't solve. The people that made the problem can't solve the problem. They don't understand. So,
Yeah.
but what did you have in mind today? What was the topic?
There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. Yeah, yeah, that's a big topic. We get in relationships.
What
And
was the topic? There's nothing wrong with you.
yeah,
Oh,
there's nothing wrong.
hold on a second. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, you're.
Yeah, technical difficulties. Yeah, no, but yeah, that's a topic I wanted to talk about because we tie that in with religion, we tie it in with life coaching and whatever.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, all your life, from the time you were a little kid, they were telling there's something wrong with you boys. You get into high school, there's something wrong with you boys. You get married, there's something wrong with you. You have to change. You're dating, there's something wrong with you. Can't you be a better man? And we've heard from the church. We heard from churches. Everybody wants more from us. So doesn't that seem to be classic baiting? you,
Yeah.
you tell a dude there's something wrong with him, and he'll say, "Oh, well, I'll fix that for you." It is special angelic princess, but there's nothing wrong with us. We are what we are. We are naturalistically what we are.
Well, I mean, that's like I don't know what we want to start with life, making fun of life coaches or religion, but like religion tells you committed a crime for being born.
Right? Yeah.
Like Christianity at least.
Oh yeah. You got an original sin. That's something. That's the sin I can't see.
Yeah.
It's just always with me.
Yeah, yeah, and that carries forward through your whole life. That there's always some like you always get that. I never had that feeling when I was really young, but then once I started getting into puberty and late teens, like that's I started seeing like a lot of people always telling me there's something wrong with you. Like you
Yeah.
don't, you need to get a career or you need to do this or you need to do that to get validation, and it always leads you down a bad road. When you're seeking
Yeah.
that validation
Right.
because that thought that there's always something wrong with you. Well, there's something you have to do that's outside of yourself to get that
Yeah. It always
idea
seems
that
like
there is nothing wrong with you. But
yeah. It always
you know what
seems
I
like
mean?
someone's
Like you
manipulating you for a purpose for the male utility.
exactly, exactly.
It's a manipulation. It's shaming. It's red code shaming. And I don't know what
Hmm.
the codes on that are. We haven't discussed that in a while. It's just shaming for people to, and it's gaslighting too, isn't it? And we
Yeah.
talk about gaslighting. And it's like females gaslight men all the time. It's like there's always something. You can always be better. You know.
You even see it through like you graduate from college or high school and like the next step is now you got to graduate from college, and then you got to get a
Yeah.
master's degree, and then you got to work for a great company, and then you got to make money, and then you got to get promoted, and then you got to buy a house. Like they got all these levels that you have to go through to get validation.
Right. Yeah.
and,
That
and
level's
we're
never
just saying
end.
you don't need any of that garbage. Just bypass all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with you to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah. I turned 60 years old, and I realized that I haven't got to that level yet.
Yeah. Well, they
Sometimes,
do. It's right to the end. It's like, oh, now you did all that work and you're 65, and now you can retire. Now you can enjoy life. Now,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. When you're old and broken up, that's when you want to enjoy life.
Yeah, we had a friend that went to high school. He passed away. He had stomach cancer.
Oh,
He passed away for 47 years old, and I hadn't seen the kid in 30 years. Last time I saw him was graduate. He was probably the nicest kid that we went to high school with. And we were just talking about him today, and it's like, man, I hadn't seen a guy in 30 years, and it's like just like that, he's gone. And
Yeah. Yeah,
you
that
know,
I'm
and
afraid
yeah,
to go into my my high school. Yeah, they always have your high school class, and they send you things, and
yeah,
it's like I'm afraid to go in there because there's probably going to be about one quarter of us left.
yeah, yeah. I know. Well, there's always that one person that you just forgot you even graduated with. You know, like I didn't even know. I don't remember that person. You know, you just forget their names or whatever.
Yeah, that's so long ago. God, it was like, yeah. So who's all in? There's Papa Cotton and David Barry. There's mgtow Smurf. There's Joey. Well, you're Joey. RP's in, and regular crowd. And
RP's back in the balcony now. He's happy. The weather's good. He's got his
oh, he's on
drafts
the
of beer.
balcony with the case, sitting on a case of beer.
He's sitting on a case of beer in the balcony in Toronto. He's doing good.
Yeah, that's what I always thought.
Um,
I always thought
yeah,
that black label beer was going to make it. You know, you used to be able to buy the beer in the black label cases, and then you dump the ice right in it, and then you sit on it,
yeah,
and it's like,
yeah,
but it didn't make it.
yeah,
I wanted that for this portion of my life, where I just go
uh,
out into the front porch, put a case of black label down, dump a bag of ice
yeah.
in there, and then just sit there.
I'm gonna have to. I've gone like probably 12 years without a drink, so
Yeah,
I'm thinking I'm just gonna get some kegs though. I'm gonna build like a little tiny bar with just a
you got to
draft
build a tiny
cold
bar.
draft beer. It's just too hot out here in summer,
Right. Yeah.
you
Once in a while,
know.
a beer is okay. I don't like to overdo it anymore. It just gives me a headache anymore. But once in a while,
Yeah,
okay.
once in a while, especially after a good bike ride or something.
Yeah, you mow your grass or you take a good bike ride or even after with some wings, watching a sports game.
Yeah,
You'd have one. I wouldn't overdo it.
yeah,
But that's being a normal person, isn't it? Being a non addictive normal person. You can have one beer and then walk away.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've done that with sports betting. I don't even care about betting anymore. I actually bet like $2 a game, like two grocery dollars, like or $5. That's what I bet now. I used to bet a lot. Now it's just I don't even want the stress anymore. I don't want to do it. It's just not worth my time,
Oh God, I
you
watched
know.
one of my friends do that today. He started those little peel off tickets that you get in the convenience stores.
Yeah,
I seen him do $60 today. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
yeah, yeah. Well, it just comes with maturity. I think that, like, as MGTOW, we have the opportunity to kind of do self introspection and figure out, how we can live a better life. And I don't get baited into shit anymore. It doesn't happen. I just don't. I have too much. I think it's called wisdom, right? You get older. I mean,
Right.
you should be getting smarter as you get older. But I noticed in society, a lot of people get dumber as they get older, and I
Some
think a
people
lot of it. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with that belief that there's something wrong with them. They think there's something wrong with them. So always
they think
chasing a
there's
new
something wrong.
car or bigger house or hotter girlfriend or whatever,
Yeah,
whatever they're chasing.
when you're a
Stupid
pretty
shit.
logical male, if you think there's something wrong with you, you're changing perfect.
Yeah.
And that there is something wrong because you're changing what was right.
Hmm.
You can't unfix right. You're gonna. My father used to have a saying about that. Don't don't fix it if it's not broke because you're
Yep.
just gonna fuck it up then.
Yeah, I remember you saying that in the podcast years ago. You're right. Didn't you like have like a motorcycle and your father was shaking his head or something? You messed it up or something?
Yeah, I took apart the trike. It wasn't broke, but I was just and he's like, "Don't fix it if it's not broke." And I screwed it up, and I was like, I thought I would
Yeah.
just make this thing better, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but you can. That's what happens with the human too. If you start trying to fix a man and he ain't broke, then you break it.
Hmm. Hmm.
You break it by trying tinkering with it,
Yeah.
and that goes back to the hey, why does everybody want to change men? What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with us. We're not. We're perfect men.
Exactly. And yeah, I think once you realize that, then you can kind of have all this freedom, and
Yeah, yeah,
make
that's the
better
great part about
decisions.
MGTOW. I mean, I was complaining all day about having to work and putting the garden in and doing that, but that's great. It's like, what would I rather be doing? Like
Yeah.
slaving away for some baby mama, you know?
Yeah. Well, we always talk about that too, like understanding what you want out of life. Once you can clear that nonsense about there's nothing wrong with you, then you have all that extra space in your head and figure out what you want out of life. You know, you're not so concerned about, you know, doing what the society expects out of you. You know, whether having
Right.
children
Yeah.
or
You
getting
have
married,
time for
whatever.
yourself. Go do something you want to do, what you really want to do, not some go meet the boys at the bar or something like that. That's what everybody wants from you. Just go do something you really want. Ride your bike. That's what I do. I don't suggest that for everybody. But anytime I want, I jump on my bike. I go down to the park. I collect some rocks. I look
Yeah,
around. I do what I want to do.
yeah,
And, and there's nothing wrong with that. And somebody might say,
no,
"Oh, look at the nerd out there picking up rocks." Hey, I don't care what he thinks.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Could care less.
I could care less. Makes me happy.
Yep.
Reading makes me happy. I've been doing enough reading lately.
Yeah. Have you been reading anything good lately?
I started going back over human personality because it's so fascinating to me about the
Mm-hmm.
five main personality traits, and there was some stuff in there about uh, about people that I wanted to go back over. So I've been doing those three courses back over again.
Yeah. What's
I've, I've really slowed down a lot after COVID. I mean, and I'm trying to get back into the rhythm, but
yeah,
and that's on me. And it's always on you. We should have known that early in life. I would have, hey, fixing myself is on me, and I have to do it. But I've always known that. I've always been, you know, pretty tough about those things. If there was something that had to be done, I did it, and and it was good for me.
yeah. We're not part of the slave right project.
Yeah, I'm not part of the slave right project. I was talking to my buddy
Hmm.
today about that, trying to explain you're not a
Yeah,
slave, and he's on the edge of going to jail for child support. And I said, "Oh, the slave recovery people are coming to get you," and he's like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, the slave recovery people." I said,
yeah,
"That's where that system comes from. The justice of the peace comes from post Reconstruction after Civil War. They didn't have enough police, and so they made justice of the peace, and those were people that were in charge of recovering the slaves. The
yeah,
Black Code laws, you know about the Black Code laws, and now they're in charge of collecting the men and getting them back to work and making them do, telling them that they're not good enough, and if they just worked harder, uh,
yeah.
that
What is it? Explain that again. The Black Code laws again.
the justice of the peace was developed after the Civil War, and that's the same person that marries people. The justice of the peace, you get married at the justice of the peace, and then
Yeah.
they bring you into that system, and that's also the people that were in charge of slave recovery.
Hmm.
Because there was a lot of counties that didn't have a sheriff and didn't have police, so they made and those are usually like the bartender or the just regular people that they put in charge, and they were in charge of collecting the slaves and bringing them back, and they got money for that. Well, that whole system and then there's I talked about the polygamy. The two tenets of barbarism, slavery, and polygamy go together like peanut butter and jelly. They work together with each other. So the justice peace marries someone, and then the female goes off the farm, and then she wants baby daddy number one, baby daddy number two, baby daddy number three, and baby daddy number four, and she wants to have kids with all these other guys. That's polygamy. That goes hand in hand with slavery. And then the
Yeah.
justice peace comes, and then they bring each one of these guys, and they bring the slave back on the farm. If he doesn't want to pay her or pay them in their system, then they're doing the same thing now as they did back then, the Black Code laws.
Yeah.
And the system makes out, the system benefits. It's all racketeering, and
Hmm.
uh, we have about the same system as we had then, and that's because we never addressed polyandry. So, if you have polygamy, you have slavery. It goes hand in hand together. It's two tenets of barbarism that go hand in hand together.
Yeah.
It's simple, but most people don't think about it. It's like what do you get? What does a baby mama get? Well, she gets a slave. He's got to go to work. He's got to pay half her bills. And then if she gets 2, 3, 4 slaves, man, that's good. They do much better then.
That is why a lot of these women have children, though, huh?
Right.
Just for future slaves for themselves.
Future slaves. It's slavery.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all it
Call it what
is.
it is. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what. Right. Yeah, because it makes sense. They don't really care about the husband. They just care about their kids. Like,
Yeah. If you
because
look
that's
up
their.
the
Yeah.
if you look up the justice of the peace system, you find out that it started during slavery and it still is for slavery. It's just the faces have changed. The slaves have changed to multicultural slave ship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they want you to believe that your whole entire masculinity is wound around, making sure she's happy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a real man.
Yeah, yeah, that's a real man. A real man makes his girl happy. It's like, oh man, you hear us saying all the time. I guess he made her mad. It's like, well, that's the biggest law you can. That's the law you don't want to break in America is making a girl unhappy. I mean, you see it all the time, from Amber Heard to, Johnny Depp. He broke away from his slave ship this week.
Yeah.
And we did get a good ruling this week. I mean, people are starting to see the mgtow and men's rights. That's what we're saying because there's so many freaking Amber Heards out there.
Yeah. So I haven't been following it much, but what's going on with Amber Heard?
Oh, Johnny Depp sued her for $50 million for defamation of character because said that she said that he beat her. He was a domestic terrorist, uh, and she was in charge of Believe Women at that time. She was the figurehead for Believe Women and Me Too and all that. Well, she lied, and it was disclosed that she. But Me Too and Believe Women hashtags should now be changed to Sometimes Women Lie. And they do it for reasons like baby mamas for money. They don't want to work. They just want to pop out the babies. That's what they do. They pop out babies. Yeah, it's the minimum amount of work with a biological function. you know. My God. You still with us? Okay.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, sorry, I had it on mute. No,
Yeah.
it's just these women are relentless, man. They
Yeah.
just when you think, oh, this one's not that bad, and maybe I'll take a shot, or yeah, you got to be out of your mind. It's just
Yeah.
a bait and switch, constant bait and switch.
It's a bait and switch. We always, we joke all day long. Every time I'm out with my buddy, he'll see one. Oh, look at that, and I'll say, "How much for that? That one's going to cost you a lot."
Yeah,
That's one of those. That's one of those upper models. That's it's going to cost you a lot more than just a regular sentence.
yeah, yeah. I seen them today at the store. Like these two broads were wearing. They're pretty much wearing bikinis in the store. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? They have like no shame.
Yeah, they're nesting. They're mating.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, because they were loud. They were like drawing attention to themselves.
Yeah, it's mating season
And
now too. It's
yeah,
you want
yeah,
to get
they're
out
looking for
there,
a sucker, and they'll
get
find one.
pregnant, run
Yeah,
him through the Health and Human Service slavery recovery system, and then they have him for life, and then the government does the work for him.
yeah,
All
yeah. They're
because
looking.
his and that's why I just laugh. It's like, well, you put a seed in her. No, you didn't.
Right, right.
you, you put a transpose on. It's a transposable element, a TE. It just changes 4% of the DNA that's already there. None of your materials actually used. And most men don't even. Most senators and presidents, and they don't have no idea. They think, well, you put a seed. No, you didn't. You made her pregnant. No, she made herself pregnant. It was through a series of decisions to get pregnant. She has. We talk all the time they talk all the time in feminism about agency. Well, it was her decision, her body, her choice. Her body gets pregnant. You don't get pregnant. And then these men are like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant. We're pregnant. No, you're not. She's pregnant and she wanted to get pregnant and she did all the work. All you did was add a transposable element to it, a DNA sequencer. 4%. You changed it 4% so she wouldn't have a genetic copy of herself.
Yeah.
Man. And then there's this entanglement of love and that magic connection they talk about. That's all bullshit.
Yep. Yep.
It's
Adam and
all,
Eve or whatever.
yeah, Adam and Eve, and
Yeah.
you're now 100% responsible for her and the child for having changed that child's DNA 4% through a transposable element. That's you don't even have one single strand of DNA in that child.
Yeah. You're just the pay. Now you're responsible. That's the thing about women. They get away with. They're just irresponsible. They get away
Yeah,
with
they're
it.
irresponsible. Now I say
Right.
what I say about feminism: go girl, take agency, find your agency. It's your choice, your body. You
Yeah.
decide. You open your legs when you want to who you want to.
Right. Right.
It's your child, 100%. Take responsibility for that.
Right.
But
Right.
they can't do that. That's what makes it
No.
all a hypocritical process.
Right.
Because all of a sudden you're the male, you're 100% responsible, and then the parentage system of Uncle Sam will take care of the rest because they're children.
Yep. That's why you got to, these young guys got to understand you can't listen to these authority figures. It's religious authority
It's
figures.
stupid. They're dunces.
Yeah.
They
They'll
haven't
lead
even
you down a bad road.
they'll lead you down a bad road, whether it's a religious authority figure or whether it's a governmental civil religion or whether wherever they want a slave and they
That's
want
right.
the whole system relies on the whole system in America and probably in your country if you're out of this country relies on the male continual work. It relies on his utility and the millions and millions of males in your country all donating their utility for free. But they don't care about you when you're going to get after you get hurt, after your back goes, after your
No.
legs go, your knees go. They'll
No.
work
These
you
church.
down and they'll spit you out. They don't want to pay for that.
My buddy works construction and he's in his late 40s and there's this guy he works with. He gives 10% of his money to the church and like they got him like fasting on Thursdays for 5 hours. Like he's got to fast on Thursday. He does all this crazy shit for like the
Yeah,
church tells him what to do, and I'm like, you're in your late 40s. You can't let these people tell you what to do, and you're giving them money. I go, what happens is yeah, exactly. When he gets older and his back is hurting and he can't work,
right.
and now he need let's say he donated 10 or 20, 30 grand over years, right? Like let's say he needs a few $1,000s to get back on his feet. They're not going to give it back to him. They're not gonna, they don't care about him.
No, they don't care.
They're just laughing. Yeah.
I'll have to think about what I've done for the church in the past, and the response I got when I got sick was nothing. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
it,
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Like when your wife cheated on you.
yeah, and that was from corporations. That's from corporations to churches to your government. They don't give a fuck about. They want to use you up and watch you die, and it's better for them if you die and go away. But it ain't good for you.
No, they just want your money. They want your money, and these pastors are like living in these. We got a pastor out here, and where am I living? Arizona now. Yeah, Arizona. So he's this guy's got like 3 or 4 houses, and he's written all these Christian books and all this bull BS, and I'm like giving out bad information. Look at all the bad information they give out. But anyway, he's taking all the money. He buys all these houses, and what does he do? He talks about not just gibberish. It's all gibberish. He doesn't. He's trying to lead people down a traditional path that's going to lead to their destruction.
Yeah, think about that. He's buying houses, he's renting them out for and making them nests so people can come in and pay him money so he doesn't have to work.
Right.
The whole system's geared to take advantage of the sucker.
Right.
And
Take advantage of the suckers. Exactly right. Exactly right. Don't be a sucker. That's MGTOW. We're the best. We're the best at not being suckers
Yeah.
because we see through all the bullshit. We walk away.
Yeah. Just release yourself from that slavery. Just walk
Right.
away from it. And when they ask you why, just say, I'm not a slave.
I
You
tell
want
you, I thought. Yeah.
you
No,
know,
go ahead. Go ahead. I'll just finish your
just say
thought. Go
you
ahead.
got a problem with that because we can settle that right now.
I tell you, I think something I'm considering is if you know, is buying like a mobile home, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't have, you can't track me down. I got no mail. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do? You gonna put me in jail for not paying taxes, or put me in jail for whatever? Like, no, I'm just traveling. It's like nobody. Just it's it. You can get a fake ID, get a mobile home, and just go nomad or whatever you want to do. You obviously have enough resources. Know how to grow your own food or get your own food, or
Yeah.
you can figure it out. But like my buddy was telling me, he's like, you can just get a job, like get like a temp, like you say you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you park your mobile home there. You could get a job like doing labor work and just picking up a few bucks here and there, or
Yeah.
or seasonal work or whatever you want to call it, and then just enough bucks to get you to your next city or next spot or whatever.
You buy
Like,
and
yeah, you can do it that way, and you can just be free that way. They're not going to track you down. You have no address. You have nothing. Who's going to send you like so I got this new thing I do. I only check the mail on payday.
okay.
Yeah, that's my new thing, because you know how you ever like pick up mail and you pick up like a piece of mail at the worst time, like you don't have enough money or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You ever have that feeling? You ever have that happen to you? Like you
Yeah.
get the worst piece of mail at the worst time?
Yeah. I pay all my bills on nothing at all important comes to my mailbox. I just leave it in there. I may check the mailbox once a month or
Good. That's a smart
my
move.
son Chen. So all my bills are online, and I pay them online and take care of all that online. If it's something comes in the mail, it's usually some silly shit from somebody that just trying to scam me or wants money, or I don't care.
Right.
But,
Right. So I just check my mail during payday now, so at least I can confidently pay my bills or whatever. But imagine like having a mobile home
yeah,
where you don't even have to worry about anything. Like, frick, who cares about like owing this person money or whatever? Who fucking care? You got your own little mobile home, and it's good if you have someone you can trust to
yeah.
has your back or whatever. But
I mean, you got to
you
tell
really don't even need that. As a MGTOW, you don't even need that. As long as
yeah,
you're in as long
you
as
got
you
a
know.
telephone, and if you have a mobile home payment, you just pay the mobile home payment over your telephone.
Right. Forget these other people, that these creditors, and like I was checking my email the other day, and I had a creditor so I had to deal with Discover Card because I owed them some money, and I said, okay, we're gonna give you. You can pay your debt back. It was like a couple $1,000s. Like they gave me a deal where I had no interest and I could pay it in 5 years. So I'm like, all right, these guys are reasonable. I said, okay, they're reasonable. I'm going to send them $30 a month, 30,
Yeah,
$40 a month, and I'll take care of my debt that way. They're reasonable. But these other cards, they were not reasonable. So I just ignored them. I'm like, no, forget it. I says, no, when you guys, I said, you guys call me back when you want to be reasonable about this debt, and then I'll worry about paying you.
yeah,
But if you're not going to be reasonable, then forget it. I'm not going to pay it. And anyway, the thing is, there's a lot of options that you have in life, and you got to understand that there's not, you have freedom. You have freedom to make decisions, and I think buying a mobile home, I think is a great idea for a MGTOW. I really
yeah.
do.
That'd be perfect. You can always get a little small piece of property somewhere in the hills somewhere, and park your
Yeah,
mobile home and on that,
yeah,
and when move around. You know, I used to have a piece of property on Pennsylvania, Pomatumy, Pennsylvania. You can park your mobile home on it, and you know, don't need a lot.
yeah. Once you got that paid, you're all set. It's like you're all set. You just, if as long as you can find ways to get food, and think about it too. You really don't need to eat a lot of food, man. Well, you only need like what, one or maybe 2 meals a day. Like,
Yeah, I was shocked. A single meal, I eat very little. And most of the time when I eat, it's a sandwich from the local deli or something. And I mean, I was kind of shocked how much my bill went up, and my kid moved back in. It's like now that we have to cook dinners, it's like, wow, this is
yeah,
kind of weird.
sure, sure. You just need a few chickens, and then if you can get a cow and know how to like make cheeses and stuff like that, boy, you got it made, man.
Yeah.
That's really all you need. You don't need a lot,
The
man.
survival skills you can incorporate, and making cheese or making your own cheese from,
Yeah,
grains, or milling your own grain or anything like that. It always comes in handy. Uh,
yeah, yeah. Getting away from the system is a good thing, though. You get away from those authority figures. You get away from people telling you how to
yeah, some
live.
men really need that. I think some MGTOWs really need it. That's why Going Galt was so popular in MGTOW for a while. They just really need to get out. And I needed that too at the beginning. I just needed to go be in the woods for a while
Sure.
and decide what reality was. Is, so
Yeah.
inundated with the matrix.
I told you that was my best year when I cut every. I went a year. I didn't talk to anybody. I just didn't talk to anyone. I didn't look for a job. I didn't. I
Yeah.
just and that was my best year because I was there. I made a lot of breakthroughs that year. Like I was
Right.
able to.
You make some breakthroughs with yourself. You figure out who you are, what's wrong with what was wrong with what you were doing, how you were doing it, why it was making you crazy. And it's like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
different ways to do it now. And as a MGTOW, you incorporate your MGTOW thinking, and this is all for me now. This is like, I'm gonna do this the right way, and hopefully it's not too late. It was too late for me.
Well, I think the core of it was just people telling me there's something wrong with me, and there's nothing wrong with
Right.
me,
They always start with that.
and yeah, and like not to brag, but like, I was like one probably one of the top athletes in my area, and good football player and all this kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
good overall athlete too. I was good in pretty much every sport, and I was always a pretty good student. It's like so even then I was hearing people, I'm like 6'1", 220, whatever, right? In high school, and there's still people telling me there's something wrong with me. It's
Yeah.
like, that's a bunch of bullshit, man.
That's
It's
what
like there's it always keeps raising the bar, raising the bar. Oh, you don't. Oh, this guy's making more money than you, or this guy's smarter than you, whatever. Like that's all a bunch of bullshit. There's nothing wrong with any of us.
No, you are what you are, and be happy with it. Try to figure out, just be happy with life, and that's what MGTOW is mostly about: reducing all
Yeah,
the stress. And
yeah,
yeah, and then you're Joey Aragon. You played shortstop for the Minnesota Twins.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I was in the grapefruit league. I was a
Yeah,
good player. I was MVP of that grapefruit league in Arizona, or whatever, Cactus League, whatever it's called.
yeah,
But yeah, that's the core of it. I think the core of it is once you figure that out, that there's nothing wrong with you, you kind of just laugh off all the bullshit, like people trying to, like like I finally cut off my sim friend. I told you about this guy.
yeah,
He
yeah,
dating
yeah.
that toxic Amber Heard look-alike chick or whatever, and I was just done with it. So I finally, my buddy that lives with me now, he was telling me, he's like, he convinced me to cut him off. I'm like, yeah, I says, you're right, I got to cut him off, and I did. I just blocked his number, and I'm done with him. I don't need that
You gotta do
drama
that.
in my life.
Yeah, I had to do that with a lot of friends, and the sim friends and the traditionalists. I can't do that no more. I don't do them
Yeah,
things, and
no,
I mean, I live my life totally different, and most people can't even they can't even respect it, or it's like it's some weird thing they can't get by how I live my life, and it's like, okay, that's like, if it's going to cause stress, I need to cut it off. That's what that book I read, Eckhart Tolle. It's like the power of now. You got to cut those strings. That's what he did. He's figured out you got to cut those strings that are holding you, that are pulling on you, and leave the ones that are good, and you know get a few good friends, get a few good MGTOW friends, and you'll see your life change.
absolutely. That's what helped me. Is not only that, but like I enjoy getting into nature, and I was.
Oh
I
yeah,
got to the point I was spending 3, 4, 5 hours a day, like
oh yeah,
yeah, especially in a smaller town in central New York where there's not a lot to do. That kills a lot of time, and it's productive, positive time,
right.
and that's what helped me grow even more as a person.
There's a lot to see out there. I mean, every spot is different. I go out and I'll hit the park, hit the trails, and everything, and I always see something new. There's something different every time I go, and
Yeah,
you work with the world. You look out the world. You just ride around the neighborhood. There's always something. There's always someone new or something different, or something. And you just look at it and go, okay, that's neat and cool, and I just keep pedaling, and
yeah,
even in a
yeah,
small town like this, and I'm sure if I lived in a bigger place with it would be like, wow, new stuff, it's cool, new
yeah,
rock.
yeah, yeah. That's good to travel and
Yeah.
or just listening to good ideas. But listen to that Native American guy, John Trudell. He's pretty good.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
passed away a
check
few
him
years
out.
ago. You ever heard of him?
No, you was just talking
Oh
about him today. I was gonna check it out. Try
yeah. Trudell. He was like a
TRU.
poet, and he was
Hello.
I think yeah. You there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was like a poet and a Native American guy, but he was just talking about how like these authority figures, they think they have power.
Yeah.
Like they don't have power. You know what I mean? They're all just an illusion. They're trying to just make you think that they have power so they can control you, but they're
Right.
not really powerful
Racketeer. They
people.
want
They're
to figure
not.
out how
Yeah,
they can get paid for doing the least amount of work
r-
necessary.
right. But it's funny. A lot of the stuff that he talked about, we were talking about. Like this guy was he's like a well-respected poet, and but we were talking about the same stuff. Like I was like, oh, he's talking about the same stuff we were talking about. Like I
Yeah.
just hit upon him like a couple weeks ago. This guy. But
Yeah.
the whole idea of like empowering yourself and and not being a slave, and
Right.
the whole thing, because they just want you to, right, they just want your utility. They just want your he said, you know what he said? He goes, everything's about energy. And Jeff and I used to always talk about that. Everything's about your energy. Like people are just trying to steal your energy, and that's what they do with marriage and
Hmm.
all the responsibilities you have as a if you impregnate a woman, like they're just stealing your energy. It's a way for them to kind of steal your essence or energy. Is to get you trapped into this marriage and all these responsibilities. And in the corporate world, they do it too. That's why I always tell people, hey, whenever you can cut corners at work, you do it.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not saying be lazy. I'm not saying be lazy, but don't. If you have an opportunity to cut a corner, you take it. You take it because they don't appreciate a lot of what you're doing. And like the thing I think about too, like these people that make a lot of money in a corporation or own a business, you're building their dream. Like if you're you know what I mean, you got to build your own dreams. You don't like all that energy you put into your job and everything. Listen, I'm not saying be lazy, but you got to think about your own dreams. Are you building your boss's dreams or your dreams? You know what I'm saying? You follow what I'm trying to say? Or just the whole idea of kind of understanding what you want out of life. And if you're continually like sacrificing your time and energy towards a company or someone else's dream, like you're not doing any good to yourself, for your life. You know what I mean? You there, Joe?
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. I was just looking at something.
yeah. No, I was just saying like that's a very important idea because that happens with marriage, right? A lot of these guys they sacrifice for their families and their wives and children, but at the end of the day, like a lot of times they don't even care about the sacrifice. They don't appreciate it. And the women don't I think mgtow was talking about turd flinging monkeys video about she'll never love you or something like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't really take listening to his voice, so I just couldn't listen to that video. But do you know about that video or like
Yeah.
she'll never love you?
Yeah. The turd flinging monkey one.
Yeah. mgtow was talking about it, like how it's a great video and this and that.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
well, I'm
There's,
sure it is a great video, and I just need to because I just need to look at the title and okay, Cowboy said it's a good video. Hey, yeah, she'll never love it. Like, but men don't understand that, and then they sacrifice their lives essentially for this woman who never even loved them.
yeah.
Which love is a bullshit concept anyway. I think.
Yeah, it's a bullshit concept. There's no magic connection between people. That bonding thing that they talk about. It's just chemical reactions. Matthew McConaughey says it the best. It's just chemical reaction in your brain that gets you addicted to doing them certain activities. It's just like addiction, and it raises your dopamine levels and it makes you feel better. And hey, you know, but that becomes very addictive. There's no such thing as you have this magic soulmate out there that you're connected to some kind of thing we can't see. If you can't see it, you can't put your finger. It's not real. It's like God.
Right. It's like hope or hope or
Hope.
well, that's
Yeah.
what they call it. The Native Americans call it the Great Mystery, and that's what it is essentially. I mean, I believe in something. I don't know if you want to call it a higher power or whatever. It's just a mystery. You don't know what it is. It's not Jesus. The whole Jesus thing is all a bunch of BS. It's all just fabricated. There's no evidence. Historical evidence is very poor
Yeah.
that there was this. And then John Trudeau talks about that too. How they made God into a man so they can make the earth like a property. You understand? Like they can make the earth a piece of property. It's not like, you understand what I mean? He really goes. It's really a unique level of thinking what he says. But so they make it so subdue the earth, right? That's just a bunch of BS, because now it's like, oh, the earth was already there. The earth is already going to be there when you die. It'll still be there. But
Yeah.
they try to, but the Christians try to make it into like your property, subdue the earth. That gave them an incentive, or I don't know if incentive is the right word. That gave them a mindset of, oh, we own this, we can tax this, we can do that, right?
Right.
You can make like the earth it's already there. It's freely, everything's freely given. But they say, oh, we can subdue the earth, right, through our Christianity or whatever, and now we can start taxing people and making people pay to live and all this kind of stuff. You just see what I mean? Yeah, it's a bunch of nonsense. And then they just continue to extract energy from people and to keep this thing going.
Mm-hmm.
Where we just say, well, enough of that. We'll just drop our shovels and you know buy a mobile home and get the hell out of here. You don't even need a mobile home, but you know what I mean. You just
Right.
look Thoreau. What did he doing? Henry David Thoreau. What was he doing? He just had he's on Walden Pond or wherever. Where was he?
Oh, he's at
Thoreau.
Thoreau was at upper state, well, New York there, and
Where was he? Upstate? Oh, was he in upstate? Yeah.
yeah.
Or was it Massachusetts? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you don't need a lot to.
Walden Pond, yeah.
And then Trudeau talks about, another thing he talks about is the way we can really win is just outthinking the system, which is kind of what mgtow does, right? Just we outthink the system. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We outthink the system by walking away. We don't submit to these traditional ideas. We outthink them, We outthink them by not participating. I think consumerism is definitely another one too. Like, you don't have to buy. I used to laugh at these people that buy new cars every 2 years or whatever.
Oh
Like, what are
yeah,
you
the
out?
years in.
Yeah, what are you, out of your mind? I mean, shit, buy a car and just drive it as long as until it blows up or whatever. Like, you don't need to buy a car every 2 years to be a consumer. You know what I mean? Buy stuff because it's the latest. Sarah Jessica Parker DVD tapes on Sex in the Lost City, or what's it called? Sarah Jessica Parker Sex in the
Oh
City
yeah,
DVDs.
Sex and the City.
Yeah, Sex in the City or in the City. I don't know what it's called. Like buy those things in DVD sets and square pegs. She was on Square Pegs. Remember that?
Oh,
Sarah
was she?
Jessica Parker. Yeah. Like her Square Pegs debut DVDs. Just don't be a consumer too. That's another way you can walk away from the system. Don't be a consumer. You don't have to buy. I wear the same clothes I wore 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like, I wear the same
I don't
stuff.
feel bad.
No, I just wear the same stuff. I don't care if it's out of style a little bit. I could care less. Gosh, always having to impress people and all this kind of bullshit, I don't know. These young guys, I feel bad for them because they're taught all this bullshit at school and all this kind of stuff. They don't, the only kids that I feel the only people that have a really good shot at life are the ones that are homeschooled and probably raised by a father. You know what I mean? That is a mgtow. I know that's probably the best, training you can get as a young person.
Yeah, that is really having a father and everything. Sorry,
A mgtow father that homeschools their kid. That's kid's gonna be really sharp.
He's gonna be sharp,
Yeah.
And we see it all the time. In the last three major mass murders there in Columbine and Sandy Hook and in Texas lately. The common was in all those
No.
broken families, baby mamas, no fathers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
And that's like 90% of these kids. They get to 18 years old, and then the baby mama system is throw them out when they're 18, and these kids have no idea how to function in society without a father had been there and taught them. No, we pretty much grew up in traditional Catholic households. For my father, I was working when I was 12 years old, and joined the army when
Yeah,
I was 17. There was no problem. I knew what I had to do. There was a certain, I know that how life is, and I have to do that. Now these kids, they get to a certain point, and it seems like they're lost, and that must be terrifying to them. There's no
yeah,
opportunity out there.
yeah,
It doesn't seem like anything's, and we're going to see more of that. The more like all roads lead back to mgtow, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, what's the name of our title? We have all the answers. How's it go? How's it go?
mgtow's got all the answers. They just got to ask us. And but
Every
right,
problem can be solved by mental. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
yeah. Yeah, well, they want to extract that utility out of us for the fatherhood role, and I say it's a fatherhood role because it's a construct. It's not biological. There's no way that it's just a construct made up by society, fatherhood, and now they want to run that role, and how they want to tell you how
Yeah,
it's going to be, and then that role is not seeing a child, that you're just paying for a child. They were
yeah,
just incubators for the state.
yeah,
And that's what most men are just livid about. They don't want to be, they don't want, have a child that they just incubated for the state.
yeah, yeah.
What were the Nazi kids that the Nazis were just having kids, and it's like that's
Oh,
the
the
same thing
Aryan race or something?
now.
Is that what it is?
So
The
when they go,
Aryans?
what's
Oh,
that?
not the Aryan race. I don't know. Aryan race?
Yeah, the Aryan kids that they were just having to make them into soldiers so they could, so they had a
Yeah,
strong army. That's
yeah.
that's all we see
Crazy.
in America now. The kids, they turn 18, they have a choice. They can, if their parents can afford it, which they can't because they're raised by a baby mama. They have the choice between either getting a job and working the rest of your life and then being a slave, because society demands that 20 to 30% of the citizens be slaves, and they do the labor, or you could join the army.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
That's a pretty good win-win situation for them, but not for
That's
the
cr-
child and not for a father.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
And that's why I always, I know it's harsh when I say that fatherhood is a social construct that's wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, and there is no such thing as a father. Um,
Nope. No, that's true.
what's his name said it to, Ted Bundy, or not Ted Bundy, Al Bundy, said it the best. He said all masculinity was lost the day you had the first male say, "We're pregnant. We're not pregnant.
Yeah,
You're pregnant."
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I know that was a hard one for people to take,
Yeah, that's a hard one for people to take, because
but it's true though.
my point on the whole thing is they just want that, like they want every utility. They just want you to show up, give money, take the kid out to McDonald's on the weekend, and, and pretend like that's enough.
Yeah,
Well, they charge you their 4%. She gets her money. Your paycheck, your slave check gets divided by people that didn't work for it, and that's the very definition of slavery. When they take someone's money that they've earned and give it to another person, that's the very definition of slavery.
yeah,
Now, I know the traditional lights think that we can go back, but we can't go back. We can't go back to the 50s. We can't solve that problem because women are too far out now. The only
no,
thing that's going to save this is women find agency, and I don't know if that's a possibility.
no,
Now, I've explained the system of, hey, we pay taxes. You're already paying for those kids. If the government would stop stealing that money and going to war, we'd have enough for all the children.
I think the women are they're just too shy right now. They're programmed to just you know steal energy, steal utility.
Yeah,
They're so used to it. They've been Well, I think RP, I used to talk about this too, how women, they're told that they're special. They're told that they're unicorns. I think RP, I used to talk about this too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're taught that they're special and they're unicorns. They're taught that they're taught that men are, I don't know what they're taught about.
Just
Yeah, men are just to be used.
We're just to be used. And if we don't give that up freely and tell them they're the best thing in the whole world, then you're a misogynist. You're patriarchy.
Right.
You're just part of that evil patriarchy.
Yeah. Well, I get these magazines from my old school I used to go to, and big university, and
yeah,
this one woman was talking about gender equality. I'm like, yeah, gender equality. Yeah. You're right. Men are getting screwed over. Is that what you mean? No, she meant the other way around, of course.
No, she meant the other way.
That the women are getting screwed over. Yeah.
How?
But that's not the reality. The reality is the men are the ones that are getting screwed.
Yeah. It's like Dave, what was his name? Not Chappelle. Who's the mgtow there?
Comedian?
Dave. Oh
Dave
God,
Bolt?
I can't remember. But he put like 10 years ago. He says, if you can prove that there's a girl in a situation in a job that's not making as much as the dude in the same job, then send it to me and I'll buy into this. Over a 10-year period, no one's been able to prove that there's been a woman that's not making the same amount in the same position.
Yeah.
Oh, Chapin. What's his name?
Yeah, Bernard Chapin.
Bernard Chapin, yeah. It's still going. Anybody that wants to prove that point, you can go prove that point. But over the last 10 years, no one's been able to prove that. No one's been able to give a situation, any corporation in America, where that happens, where a female just makes less because she's a female. And it's quite the opposite. And that's why I bring in Simpson's paradox, because it's been proven in Simpson's paradox that females have quite the opposite. They have more opportunity. That's the Berkeley study, the Simpson's paradox study of how many classes were for women and how many classes for men. And they found out like 8 classes for women and 4 classes for men, but still they were getting screwed somehow.
Yeah. It's disgusting. Yeah, it's terrible. But like you said, that's why we can solve every problem just by walking away.
But that's the paradox, and that is like when you add a smaller amount to the whole, it seems like it's different. That's Simpson's paradox.
Yeah.
And we live in a strange world, and
no doubt. It's predatory. It's usury.
It's usury, yeah. It's predatory and it's usury, and women are cunning and crafty. And you got to be careful.
Well, and they're agent, like Black Pill Gangster always calls them agents. He's 100% correct.
Right, they're mercenaries.
They're agents of the system. They're the ones that keep the system going more than anybody.
They're very mercenary, and they'll take it. Look at Amber Heard. We all watched it lately. I seen a picture of Johnny Depp. He was petting a badger. Did you see that one? And I said, that's what got you in trouble in the first place, petting that badger.
Yeah.
Them things bite.
No question.
Yeah, them special angelic creatures that came from heaven. Women aren't special angelic creatures. They will hurt you. They will make you into a slave, and that's the worst thing you can do to a man. And we wonder why these kids act like they do nowadays. I went to a Home Depot and there was not a millennial, he's a Zier. And I said, where's the lawnmower blades today? And he says, here, he picked out his phone. They all got phones that the company gives them.
Yeah.
And he hands it to me and he says, I can't. And so he didn't know how to spell lawnmower blade.
Really?
And then I just pushed the record button. I said lawnmower blade, and I said that's how you do it. It's like, man, these boys are just
yeah.
It's like, what are they teaching in school? And I mean, you can see they're just teaching them the same old garbage, just multiply by 10. Just be a good man. Your manlyhood depends on how much the women like you and how much you do for them.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's school. It's like we can
I
do
never bought into it, Joe. I never bought into it. I don't even think even when I was a teenager, I never like. I mean, I got sucked into going to my junior prom because my mother, she wanted me to simp out, but even then I never bought into like having to do all this stuff for women, you know, except the
yeah.
junior prom. They got me in the junior prom. I wish I could reverse that. Buying a tuxedo and all that crazy shit. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, if you don't play ball with the ladies, you're a bad person.
Joe says it's clickbait.
Who said that?
Joe, buddy. Our buddy
What
Joe,
did,
buddy.
oh, he clickbaited us.
Yeah, he says,
Well,
what
Joe
clickbait?
Buddy's still isn't he still living in his delusion or no?
He's
Uh,
Joe's on the other
He's
side.
in.
He's living the dream, just with half a dream.
Yeah, I hope
He's
he doesn't get screwed too bad. I hope he's got his little secret stash that he's building for himself. You know, I know he's not a bad guy, but
no, he's
it's
not a
like
big
it sucks being naive, and it's just save a little. I guess silver coins are pretty good. You can hide
guy.
those pretty. I guess if you can find a way to.
Half a dream. That's because you got to split it with your wife, Joe.
Yeah. Who's that guy, Charles? That guy, the funniest guy ever was Charles, Artari Charles. What was his name?
Atari
Artari
Charles,
Charles.
yeah,
Didn't he have like didn't he challenge you in an IQ test or something? I don't know,
yeah,
something weird.
he got mad
What,
at me.
what,
You
yeah,
test drive.
what else about him that was funny? Like he had all these toys in his backyard.
Yeah, there was a bunch of toys laying around. His garden was like in pieces. The kids was like he was he was trapped inside this fence around. It was like, oh, that's so. It's like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
almost
yeah,
expect
yeah.
like a woman to start yelling out the window, like Charles, you get in here now, and it's like,
Oh man, these women are, man. It's like
oh man.
they
I
just
was
they
just watching
just
a video the other day. His wife started yelling at him during the video. It's like,
yeah, yeah. His wife, yeah, yeah, yeah. She's like 30, like 130 pounds overweight. And
are you on that damn YouTube?
God Almighty.
God, that must be. It
Well,
was,
like that leads back to like some like the problem with a lot of these married guys and men chasing women is like you don't develop your soul.
no, you
Like you
don't
don't
develop as
develop
a
your
male.
no, you don't develop your personality, your character. You're stunted. It's like you have arrested development. Like I think
Yeah.
mgtow are the only ones that can really advance their
Well, that's
souls and
the whole reason most men get married, and I did it myself, is for the convenience of having a female cook and clean and do those things and everything. And that's just a replacement mommy. And you never really grow up as a married person. You never learn how to do it yourself. You never learn how to run your house yourself. But you will end up doing everything. You will end up doing the laundry. You will end up cooking. You will end up. I mean, I was just talking to one of my buddies. He says, "My wife ain't got off the couch in 6 months. She put on 100 pounds." It's like, yeah, that's what happens. That's what they do. And then you work a 12-hour shift, pay all the bills, come home, and then end up cooking and cleaning, and give her a back rub. Offer one little thing for
yeah.
that little you know that little spot.
I
That's
feel
it.
bad for those guys that bust their ass all week and then they forgot to put the toilet seat down and then now they're
Oh yeah, yeah.
or was it
You
yeah
forget to put the toilet seat now, and all of a sudden
yeah
you're in divorce court, having the,
yeah
and
yeah.
he's splitting up your future pay.
It's disgusting. It's so disgusting.
Yeah, it's
He,
just
I remember we said joke around like he like one wife complaining to the pastor. He's just not like Jesus enough. He's just
yeah,
not. He needs to be more
yeah,
like Jesus.
yeah. The slave recovery person splitting up your
Who
pay.
who who? If you studied history, Jesus didn't exist. And it makes sense that he didn't exist not only historically but just the whole concept of having God embodied in a flesh. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's a
It's
total lie.
ridiculous. Yeah,
It's a
that's
total yeah. And God's not even a good term to use. It's just a great mystery. Nobody knows. Like you can't.
yeah.
Nobody
It's
can
like
claim they have they cornered the market on this great mystery that nobody
Yeah,
knows about.
something you've
You know,
never seen, never heard, has no material property at all, has nothing, and somewhere floats around. Yeah, sure, that makes sense a lot.
right? He's God in the flesh. He's a little baby. He was a little
Baby
baby and
Jesus,
came.
yeah.
Yeah, he was born without sin. And it's so stupid. The whole freaking thing is
Yeah, he
terrible.
was the only person that was born without
And,
that.
and then they justify that shit by killing all those Native Americans and taking their land.
Yeah, that's what
Saying,
all Christianity did, was it was neocolonialism, that they moved from to non-contacted people and
mhm,
incorporated their society into their society, and started taxing them. And you know what it says
yeah,
in the Bible, that is, you know, you got to give Caesar what's his, you know, and
right, right.
like, you got to
Yeah.
do that because you got to be a good Christian. And you know, we'll
Disgusting.
take care of the marriages because we need the slaves, and they got everything taken care of. And if the slave tries to get off the farm, we'll recover them. That's what, you know, child support and that is about, slave recovery.
Well,
These
and that
big
whole thing,
boys, yeah,
like Trudell was saying, he's they made the earth into a property to subdue, right? That wasn't our place. Our place is just to live on the land, right? And right, and then we
yeah,
build our own little communities and help each other out, and you don't have to have property taxes, and
yeah.
they
You
set
know,
up all these hierarchical structures to control people and just subjugate people. That's all it
yeah.
was. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just so they can have
yeah,
their positions and authority
right,
positions. You stay
right,
as a slave. It's class. It's pure 100% classism, and
right, right,
you know, there's us slaves down here, and then they're the authorities, and they think they're the authority. Well, you ask them what their job is. Well, we take care of it. You know, there hasn't been a donation into infrastructure for the last 40 years. We haven't taken care
right,
of infrastructure. So what happened to all that money that 19 to 30 some percent that we were playing into gas prices that were supposed to go to infrastructure? What happened to all that money? Well, they stole it.
right.
What about alcohol taxes? What happened to all that money? They stole it. What happened to? They stole it. You know, that's what they do. They're racketeers,
Yeah, exactly. That's what they are. Yeah,
and they want you to buy into that stuff. We've talked about a million times. We talk about it on every podcast. We talk about Durkheim's social fact, and all you need to know about this thing is Durkheim's social fact.
yeah,
But I get sick
yeah,
of saying it. I don't do a lot of, because I get so sick of people not hearing me.
yeah. No, they don't listen. They don't listen, and they wonder why their lives are a mess.
Yeah, they wonder
I mean,
why
I'm
they're.
laughing I mean, my life, I'm just laughing my ass off pretty much every day. Because yeah, I'm getting screwed on taxes like everyone else.
Yeah, we're getting screwed. We all get screwed on
I
taxes. We all pay baby.
yeah,
We all every man pays child support, whether he believes in it. He pays that. He pays that money that was supposed to go to the poor. That money that was supposed to go to the women over here, to house the kids and free the kids. Well, it went up to the government, and they stole their cut, and then it trickles down to the baby mamas, and then they recharge the men for something they already paid. That's what
yeah.
happened to that money.
But at least as a MGTOW, you have a fighting chance to have a good life. You know what I mean? It's not going to be perfect because we still have to, unless you want to get that mobile home and whatever, do your thing. I think that's a good idea. But at least I don't have this. I'm not going to let people subjugate me. I'm not going to date. I'm not going to marry. I'm not going to have children.
Joe,
I'm not.
let me tackle this subject. Hey, Joe, after Bill Clinton was president, how much was the national debt? And what year was that?
Yeah, 92, right? National debt was
Yeah,
like zero, right?
nothing to do with the boomers. That had to do with millennials and the Zers and the Xers, and you're running up a debt. And the boomers were zeroed out after Bill Clinton. There was no debt in America. George Bush and Trump added 19 trillion to that.
Well,
Uh,
yeah. Well, the whole
from
thing is a joke, though, too, Joe. That both sides are just working for
Yeah, Obama
a bigger
added
cut. Yeah,
8 trillion to that, and that was
but
over 16
yeah,
years, so about
but
half. And
yeah,
well, Joe hasn't added anything to it. So
yeah,
when
yeah,
you want to throw around stupid statistics like that, say it on the boomers. The boomers paid their debt.
Yeah,
We
but
were,
the whole political system, both sides are just absolute joke. I mean, they just want us arguing all the time.
yeah, they want to get it's what is it? What's that video I did about Willie Lynch's law? Yeah, they want to get
Yeah,
the young fighting with the old, and the women fighting with the men, and the blacks fighting with the whites, and everybody's fighting
right,
against each other, and then they
right,
can do what they want. It's
right.
Willie
Yeah,
Lynch rules.
yeah. It's these people that live in castles, and those are, and people always talk about. I know I joke around Illuminati. They're just little. They're like the opening act. They're like the comedy act that plays. They're a bunch of clowns. It's the people that live in the castles. Okay, those are the ones running things. The ones that are born into privilege and they haven't worked a day in their lives.
Joe,
Those are the guys running stuff.
The boomers are always voting for more taxes. How can you say that? Do you know what all the boomers are doing? Can you prove that? No,
Yeah,
it's
no.
stupid to even say that. That's an
Joe
unprovable fact.
Joe should be hanging out with Tari Charles doing.
Because they're like, yeah, well, they just lost a million old people last year, the COVID, the last few years, the COVID, and they don't have to pay that debt. So they collected Social Security from all those boomers for
Yeah,
50 years of their life, and they don't have to pay it now. So
that's a
who's the
nice that's a nice little Ponzi scheme, huh?
Yeah,
Holy
my
shit, Social
father died
Security.
before he collected Social Security. All my uncles died before they collect Social Security. So who's stealing here?
Jeez,
It's the government.
Social Security is just robbing people. Like it's just another way to rob people. That's all it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't blame the boomers. The
I
boomers
think
had it.
I'm giving like 4 or 5 thousand a year in Social Security every year. That's a lot of money. It's like
Yeah,
it's
blame it
just,
on your government. Blame it on the people that are stealing
yeah,
it. Learn about Durkheim's social fact. Learn about, you know, just what are they doing with all that money? They're paying themselves in these useless lighter than air jobs while you
yeah,
work. Yeah, and
yeah.
I know
It's
it's hard work.
the people in the castles, dude. It's the people
Yeah,
the
it's
Prince of
people in the
whatever. What's
castle
his name?
stealing from
Yeah,
you.
Queen Elizabeth. The biggest landowner in the world is Queen Elizabeth.
Hmm.
She own. I
Yeah,
read
she wants everybody to be a renter.
she owns like 6 billion. I think it's 6 billion, with a B, 6 billion acres of land. 6 billion, and we're talking prime real estate too. We're not talking about
Yeah, and I'll tell you
we're
what,
not talking about Hudson, New York or whatever,
I'm
Catskill,
a
New York.
boomer and I lost two 401ks
Yeah.
to.
Well, I think the thing is that, like, so we realize we're in this predatory world, and so how are we going to fight back? Well, walk away. I mean, but another way to win is not to, like, try to, like, I advise people, try to find jobs where you're not exerting too much energy. You don't want to break your back. You don't want to break your back to make a dollar. Okay.
Right,
Whether it's mentally, physically, whatever. Like
right.
those are ways you can
Do the
fight
least,
back. Find
yeah,
those type. You find the lighter than air job. I mean, I
right.
know it
You find
sounds
a lighter than air job. Don't be that
right,
guy
right.
that's gonna happily
Don't
go to work with his
right.
lunch bucket every day.
Right. Be the guy that's working at the movie theater. Hey, oh, here's your ticket. Your theater's right down there. Yeah, you're not going to make a lot of money maybe in that job, but if you're creative with your money and maybe another way is not being a consumer. That's obviously a good one. And then just try to find try to network with people and try to find opportunities to like my buddy's living with me now. He's getting his you know stuff back together, and I didn't. I'm letting him live with me rent free, and because he's my friend, and you know what I'm saying, and so that takes a big burden off of him, you know, not paying rent and utilities, and I do that because he's my friend, and I know him a long time, and I respect him, and so that's how I kind of screw the system back. Is like I'm making it easier for my friend. Now he can get back on his feet. It won't take him long, like stuff like that. I think that's how we as mgtow can kind of like buck the system, and you know what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, no, it is an annoying world we live in for sure. Especially when you see these people born into privilege that own all this stuff, and they're not doing any work. They're not. We're doing all the heavy lifting. We're doing all the
Yeah,
work.
we're doing all the heavy lifting, and there should be a better division of money when
Right. Division of labor, like
you got
Schopenhauer
10,
talks about.
100 people in the United States that has more wealth than the rest of the 320 million. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's crazy. It's crazy. Well, yeah, you just break it down. And you want to just break down. Yeah, the one. So the 1% own 99% essentially.
yeah, and not paying no taxes. So
Right, and then right, they're
you
not
want
paying
to talk about
taxes,
the
right?
boomers not paying. How about those 10 people that aren't paying taxes, and plus
Eh,
those
right.
those top 500 corporations that aren't paying no taxes?
That's why I have a lot of respect for these Asian people, like in California. You know what they do? They fit like 10 people in one. They live in $1 million house, and there's 10 of them living there, and they all pitch in, a little bit.
Oh, I
They
always
all,
say family
I
should
say
stick.
that's smart. That's why they're smart.
Yeah, families should stick together. They always start a restaurant. They always do something to further themselves. I always used to give that Italian family up around the corner here that started the Italian restaurant. They all lived in the same house. They all
Yeah.
went to the same job, which was the restaurant, and they all did pretty good because that restaurant was the best restaurant in this area. And
Well, and the thing is though now even because I grew up Italian, and but the women now they lost it, man.
right,
Even the Italian
but
women, they lost it. They got too Americanized, or
at
whatever you want to
any
call it.
moment, the female in
They'll blow it
the
all. Yeah.
matriarchal female can blow it all up and take it
Right.
all, and then
Right.
ruin it for the rest of the family. That's the
Right.
problem.
Because back in the day, like, because I was born in the '70s, like, I remember growing up. It's like Italian women back then were very, very, they respected the male figures, and the reason why that was important is because the male figures were more responsible, and they looked after everybody. So, but now they don't do that now. See, right? They were so they were pretty much shamed into doing the right thing. Right? Now they're not. Now they have no shame. Like I told you about those chicks in the grocery store walking in there with their bikinis today. You're
Yeah,
walking in a bikini in the store. You never used to see that when I was growing up. Like women were not that, and they're loud too, Joe. They have no shame and they're loud. So now those situations are harder. I think the Asians are a lot smarter in that regard because their women tend to be a little more modest. So they're not trying to screw their own family members as much. But like I know for these Caucasian, like forget it, man. They'll screw
yeah.
you over. All it takes is one bad apple to screw up a whole family dynamic and community.
Right.
And
Yeah. There's people. I give two examples of this. There was the guy in L.A. that had the construction company, and he employed 300,000 people from his. He did road construction. He did construction in California. His wife filed for divorce, cannibalized the company. 320,000 people lost their jobs because she wanted her independence. And then my buddy Red, I tell about he had a company in this area, and his wife wanted a divorce. Company was dissolved. He went and moved away. The 300 people in this area lost a job. And she got like minimal amount, which she spent in like no time at all. And it just tells you about that horrible system. Divorce and marriage in America costs more jobs than anything else.
mhm.
Every time some guy with a business gets a divorce and he's worked all his life for it, and he's employing 2, 3, 4, 500 people up to 3,000 people, that ends just because some silly woman wanted her independence and wanted to run the cock carousel. Jesus. You
Yeah.
know, farm laws are different. You can't, if a male owns the farm, he keeps the farm because guess who's going to work the farm? Rural marriages are a little bit different. They see that. It's like you can't be giving the farm away to someone that's just going to lose it anyways.
Yeah.
People starve.
Yeah. Well, that's what, the taxes, I had to sell a house last year because of
Right.
the taxes. The
You just
taxes,
went
and
through that.
it got to be too much, and the generational, they just, yeah, it's sad, but I know I made the right decision. I was sick of being, I have to slave more. I have to slave more to
You have
keep
to
up
slave
with it.
hard. Yeah. Slave more.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it. It's just the end. I already have one. I had two houses.
Couldn't you have done that,
I
Joey?
don't
Just
need the other house.
slave a
Huh?
little harder? Be the best
Yeah.
slave?
Yeah, well, that's what I was telling you. I remember I was telling you, like off air, like my next move I'm going to buy condo cash.
Yeah.
There's nice condos in Central New York under 100,000. I get a nice condo, pay cash, and then I'm done. You have to pay the taxes, insurance, and that's still 400-500 a month, even tax insurance and upkeep. So, but still, 400-500 is not bad for rent and the rest of my life. It's still pretty good. I'll take that. But even then, it's like these rich people they're not spending, they're spending zero. They're the ones collecting the taxes. They're
Yeah.
paying zero and they're building their wealth while we're struggling and working.
Right. Yeah. It's what we didn't want in this country was a renter economy. But we got in this country as a renter.
Right.
We wanted to get away with that renter system that was in
Yeah.
England, where
Yeah.
there was a caste system that owned everything, and you paid rent to them.
Yeah.
And we've seen that in Ireland, and we've seen the horror of it in Ireland. We've seen it all over the world. We see it in India, but we didn't want that in this country. But that's what we're getting. Where there's people. The biggest rent collector in Cleveland is a Ukrainian guy. What the fuck? He owns like
Yeah.
200,000 apartments in Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what
Yeah.
the f? Yeah. So
What a
someone
piece of
not even
garbage.
from this country,
Right. And they gain that wealth by being crafty and screwing
like
people
crafty,
over
probably some
and being a narcissist and a psycho. They're sociopaths
they're
essentially.
sociopaths. Yeah.
Psychopaths or sociopaths. Yeah, they're total. They don't care. They don't care if they kick a family out in the cold.
Yeah, this country is
That's why I was a bad landlord. I was a terrible landlord because I would like give the guy a pass like on stuff,
yeah,
like if he couldn't pay for, I said, okay, don't worry about it, just pay me when you get it,
no,
that's why I'd be a bad bookie too. I know how to run the numbers, but when it
I,
comes down, like if I was bookmaking and the guy couldn't pay me, I'd say, just pay me when you can. And of course, he
I
never would
heard
pay.
during COVID them saying that, that they had the rent program, and it says people can't pay their rent now because everybody's out of work during COVID. And I said maybe the problem's not that everybody can't pay their rent. Maybe the problem is rent.
Right, that's exactly right. And the people, the landowners, and the people that have a lot of properties, they'll say that they want to keep the system going.
Yeah, there's no
because they're benefiting from it. But yeah, you're right. The
the
problem is the
benefits
rent
of
itself.
the system. The
We shouldn't
system,
have to be. We shouldn't have to, as human beings. We shouldn't have to be paying to live like this. This is
right?
ridiculous.
Paying somebody else to live, that's slavery.
Right.
Well,
That's
we
what I'm
haven't
telling you.
veered very much from slavery since
No. No.
we have the caste people that are caste and the people that are under the caste, and we're paying them to do nothing,
Yeah.
and it's got to stop. And sooner or later, but I don't know. Americans are so stupid; they don't see it.
No, they don't see it. They think it's normal. Because you know why? Because they think it's normal to pay to live.
Everybody thinks they have that dream. They're going to be top
Yeah.
1%. No, you're never. You're
Yeah.
never going to be the top 1%.
No, you're never going to be it. You're never going to be it unless you're a psychopath or a
Yeah,
sociopath. So, but why do you want to be that? You want to be that? You want to be miserable your whole life?
you're never going to be picked.
No, no.
You're not Jeff Bezos. Yeah, Jeff Bezos started his company. He got a contract from the government.
Right, right, right. They're just laughing at us. They don't. They think. But at least mgtow, we can kind of laugh back at them.
He didn't make his money. He was chosen.
Right, he was chosen. Right, and a lot of it just goes back to their bloodlines. If you want
Yeah.
to get into that, but see now I talked about the bloodline thing with my buddy, and I think it's true. I think their bloodline is different. They have something. It's almost like they're not human in a lot of ways. I think there's some truth to that, probably.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't want to get into that too much in this conversation.
Yeah.
But there's something wrong with them. They are. Well. One guy I listened to, his name is Dean Henderson. He's pretty good. He says they're inbreds, because that's why they're stupid.
Yeah.
Because they you know what I mean. They're inbreds. These elite and these people live in castles and running the world. They're inbreds. So that's why to them it's normal to think, oh, they should pay for rent, But that's not normal. A human being should not have to pay to live like this.
Being the work. Yeah. Yeah. If you want the best book I can give you, and you got to read between the lines, is I'm Ray Cleveland, Who Stole Society, Stole Society. And it tells you about the registry, and it tells you about how they think. He was one of those people, then he wasn't. And then he's seen what it's like for everybody else after you're not one of those people no more.
Right. And another book is The Rich and the Super Rich.
Yeah.
Where he breaks down a lot of stuff too in that, like how they essentially think a lot different than we do. They do view us as farm animals.
We're just farm animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we
wonder why there's a lot of all these shootings and people are angry. There's a lot to be angry about, and it's mainly your government and the racketeers running the things, and we can get rid of 2/3 of the government right now if we just get rid of the divorce and the marriage and the family courts. Just get rid of it.
Well, and there's a lot of ways to fight back, like Yeah, no, you're right. We do need to get rid of that stuff, but is that realistic? Yeah, it might not happen in our lifetime, probably won't. But the thing is, like, the way I think a person can fight back individually is just don't give out your, don't bust your ass for a dollar. You know, it's
Don't
okay to
bust
work
your
hard, but
find
yeah,
ways.
don't bust your ass. Try to
Only
find those
way we
jobs
can
that,
do it now is be
yeah,
mgtow. We walked
right,
away from the slave. Somehow we got away from the slave recovery system.
right,
Uh,
right,
Stay away from the slave recovery system. That's the
right,
justice of the peace.
right. Don't let these
That's
employers get in your head. Don't let these employers make you feel guilty for not putting out your best. Like we give out specific strategies in our talks, but like always look like you're busy at work, but in reality you're not killing yourself. You know, stuff like that. Like you have to understand the scam, you know, like they're trying to get you to work more for less money and all this other stuff, and you just flip it back on them. You have to pretty much outthink it. Like we're talking about outthinking the system. You know what I'm saying? But like we talk about property. Like if you're gonna buy a piece of property, well, buy a property where the taxes are low, where the
yeah,
tax structure is not going to kill you. You know what I mean? That's why I live on the West Coast, where we're I live in a state where there's not
right. We have to
state
start.
income tax
You know,
I'm not getting screwed from the
we
income
can
tax.
do
My
this, and
property tax is low too.
if MGTOW start to get together, and we get all the groups together, the men's rights, the MGTOW, the Going Galt, the all these groups, we if we can get together on the same page, we can start affecting local government
Yeah.
in certain ways, and stop them from racketeering.
Right. Right. They're racketeers. That's exactly what they are. And the police is definitely, listen.
It's
No,
part
we
of it.
joke. Yeah, it's totally part. Like you did that post about how they arrive after the scene crime. It's like,
Yeah,
I mean,
the police don't do nothing. They
I know they're
show up
just doing.
10 minutes late for
Yeah,
every crime because they need to be called. The crime has to happen.
yeah, yeah.
There's an
You don't
antecedent.
need them, Joe. We don't even need police. We really don't even need them. I hate to say
Yeah,
it. We
the
don't even
crime's
need them.
already done. The damage is already done.
No,
All they
you
come
get
is
your
they
own
write
community
down
watch
names
group.
and
Yeah,
make things worse.
you get your own community watch group. Forget it.
Yeah,
Like my neighborhood, like my like some of my neighbors are retired police officers. I get along with them well, and like we could you know we both own guns. We all own gun. You know, we own gun. Like we can patrol our own. Because I remember like this one car was like
but the
driving around the
men have
neighborhood.
to start being men
Yeah,
again. The men have
like
to
I'll give you an example. Like one
start
car was
being the police.
driving. Yeah, we had one car driving around our neighborhood. I'm like, so I asked the lady, so what are you doing here? She goes, oh, I'm a realtor. She was like taking pictures of the houses. I
Hmm.
said, you know, there's a gated community here. I said, did you enter in the code to get in? Like I confronted her myself. I didn't need a police officer to say anything to her. Says, you know what? You have to you have to
Yeah,
know the gate code to
if
get
you're
in there. You don't
taking
know the
pictures
gate code. I
of
said, get
people's
the hell
houses,
out of here.
yeah, get your grubby fingers on people's houses. You want to take houses?
Right.
That's
You
like,
want to take pictures of houses without approval and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So no, but point I'm trying to make is like you said, we don't really don't need the police because the people that don't understand the world we live in, they think, oh, you need the police, but you really don't. If you have a community
yeah,
group, we'll take care of our own problems. If
yeah.
someone's like, remember we used to have like, if you had like a guy that was like a pedo in the neighborhood, we just beat him, go in the
Uh,
shed and beat the shit
Took
out of
care
him.
of it. Yeah, made
He
sure he
won't do
leave
it. He won't do it again. And if he did it again, he'd go floating on the river in a few days.
that one way or another it gets settled. But and that's instant justice.
Right, and that's you're right. It's injustice
Yeah,
because
so
I'm reading about. I'm getting into this Native
retributive
American
justice
history.
towards rehabilitative justice and all that.
Well,
No, I
I'll
think it's
tell you.
more rehabilitative to make sure he just leaves.
Well, I'm getting into this Native American history stuff more, and when they had someone that was acting like a sociopath or psychopath, you know what they would do? They would isolate them for like a week,
Mhm.
and they would just let him think about what he did. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
most sociopaths, they don't know the difference between right and wrong because they probably had a baby mama that didn't teach them the difference. Uh, and
Yeah.
most people you can teach the difference between right and wrong. That's really rehabilitative justice there. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be
Right.
rehabilitating people,
Right.
get the men back on
But,
track that are raised by baby
right.
mama. It's not their fault that they think they got to sell drugs and steal for a living because that's what their baby mama taught them.
But how brilliant is that? What the Native Americans used to do? Just let a guy isolate the guy from the tribe,
Isolate the guy, let him think about it.
let him think about what he did, and let him go hungry for a few days, and you're right, and then okay, now we'll take you back. What did you learn? Blah blah
What'd
blah.
you learn? Yeah.
Right,
We're not
right.
the enemy. Your neighbors aren't your enemy.
No, no, they're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not. No, it's a bad system. It's going to take probably, I don't
Horrible
know,
system.
hundreds or thousands of years to even correct it.
Yeah, mgtow is for correcting the system. We're here. We're fighting against the injustices of the system, but we got to start doing it. And
Yeah.
just getting all wrapped up in certain things. These political arguments, like Joe said, is the boomers. Blame it on the boomers all day, but that doesn't help your situation.
No.
That's just another scapegoat. Religious people and these, you always need an enemy. Your enemy is not your neighbor. Your enemy is the
No.
government,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
real. And I can test it, and I can put my finger on it. And it's real. It's not some fake god out there that needs a devil.
Yeah. Self-serving. It's a self-serving government, like you
It's a
said. Like,
self-serving government.
yeah. Yeah.
As soon as we get rid of, Durkheim talked about that a long time ago, about how the government becomes self-serving. You can watch it if you want to watch it. One of the greatest movies ever made. It was what was the movie about? It was a social fact. It was about how I can't remember, but I'll think of it in a little bit. About charity, how charity always becomes self-serving, and then they brought in Durkheim's social fact and showed you how Sally Struthers sitting in the desert eating all the food. That joke, that fat ass. The
Yeah.
joke. The joke that Trey
Sam
and
Sam
South Park.
Kinison.
Yeah,
Sam Kinison had that joke with the cameraman give a sandwich to the African guy that's
yeah,
hungry.
that South Park joke. That was Durkheim's social fact. Sally Struthers sitting out in the middle of the desert eating all the food. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And you could take that idea and bring it forward and say the government just steals all that. There's altruism. There's people in need. It should go right over to the people in need, but it goes up. The government takes what they want. They got lighter than their jobs. They pay themselves. They take 2/3 of it and trickle it down to the people
Yeah.
in need. You already paid child support. You already paid for the kid. The problem is the government's stealing it because they don't want to find a real job.
Is that movie called Whale Rider? Not Whale Rider, is it?
No, it was
Okay.
God, I
I was
can't.
just looking up Durkheim in movies.
Yeah,
Whale Rider came up. I don't know. I never seen
it was
it.
about charity. It was about the charity.
Oh, okay. Who's in the movie? Do you know?
It was just a documentary. You type in documentary about
Uh, Poverty Incorporated.
Poverty Incorporated. And that's
Yeah.
one of the greatest movies that gives you the idea of how these things. Once you get past that idea, you can see how the government's stealing from you,
Yeah, they're just
taking
they're
all the
just stealing
charity.
your energy, money is energy. That's all
Yeah,
it is at the end of the
they're
day.
fat ass Sally Struthers sitting on the desert eating all the food, and it never
Sally
gets
Struthers,
more.
what a fat ass, and what a piece of garbage.
Yeah, or sell
Uh,
yoga. They portrayed her as the hut.
it's like these female pastors, even male whatever, they're all the same, but they're like these little weakling guys that you put them in a wilderness, they wouldn't last freaking 2 hours, and they're the ones extracting money from guys like me and you that we would survive in those situations. I would survive in the wilderness.
Yeah, charity does begin.
You
Me
know,
and Joey have a thing. I do it, and Joey, I know Joey does it too. When I walk up to the convenience and I see a guy begging for money, I give him $5.
yeah,
And I don't say, "Oh, he's just going to go drink it." Yeah, I mean, he might buy a beer with it. Who doesn't want a beer?
yeah, yeah,
On Christmas, I get a pocket full of $5 bills, and I go out and I try to find people that need it.
yeah,
Charity begins here, helping. You can help. You can do a lot of things. For years, I ran this house out of for men that were down on their luck. I mean, I
hmm
did that work for years and years and years.
hmm
And then I seen how people stole from that system.
yeah,
My town made me cry the other day. They opened an apartment center up the road here. Uh,
yeah,
221 units for poor and displaced families and men, for homeless people.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like, wow, look at someone's listening here in my town.
I know. That's good. I mean,
There's so much that's right about this town, and there's so much that's wrong about this town. And sometimes I see all that right, but
well,
most,
remember that Joel Osteen guy? Like they had that flooding in Houston, and he had that big church, and he wouldn't let anybody in there.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah, giving the money to the church where he's going to just buy himself a private jet and some cars, it is
yeah,
useless.
yeah, yeah.
You want to do something real good?
Where are they going? Where are they going in these private jets? Like, where are they going? Like, where are you going in a
Where are
private
you
jet? Like,
going?
do you
Well,
really
they're
need
going
a
to fly
private
around the
jet? You
world, and
really? Yeah,
they're gonna they're gonna
yeah,
Christianize like the
yeah,
heathen Chinese people and those heathen
yeah,
Africans.
yeah. I'm sick of it. I don't even like pay attention to it anymore. I'm just so sick of them. Yeah,
Jeez,
yeah.
I got to bring them into a better world where they can just be slaves and give all the money to these
But that's
racketeers.
that's definitely the formula though, is stop listening to these authority figures. I mean, that's the first, whether it be your even mother or father, like, unless they have your best interest in mind. I mean, I can understand a father, maybe, like you have a son that maybe, like, I know with your situation, hopefully he listens to you because you're giving him good advice. But in general, a lot of these young guys, they don't get good advice from their
Yeah,
parents.
you know what's going to happen with most. Most it happened to me, and I can see it. You're going to get your son back after he's 18, and then you're going to have to do the work. So that's throwing the work that you should have been doing while she was
Yeah,
out riding the cox carousel and getting free
yeah,
money from you and the government. Uh, you're going to still have to do that work, and that's what I've done with my son. I still have to do
yeah,
that work with him because he missed out on me giving him that
yeah,
good advice, and he's doing great now. I mean, both my
yeah.
sons do great. My other son, just bought a Trans Am. I gave him a
Nice.
e-bike the other day. He wanted to go mountain biking, and it's like they do great. I mean,
Yeah,
as little as I was in their lives after the divorce, you still have a chance after they're 18 to fix and do that. And you will have to
yeah.
because she's not going to be able to do that.
No, they just don't have it. They don't have it. They
They
don't
don't
have
have
the.
it. They can't do it.
No.
There's no agency there. And I agree with feminism 100%. Women need to find their agency. They need to be strong women. They need to make better decisions. Taking a cock and getting pregnant is not a good idea.
No.
Agency. Make it's your body. It's your choice. Make a good choice.
Yeah. Well, I blame the media a lot too. I tell you, the media. The more I see that, is just, man. I just try to stay away from all of it because they're the ones feeding all these bad ideas,
Oh yeah, the media is
all
horrible. It's
yeah,
been
the
so
set the
horrible lately.
yeah, the impulsive sex, the drug
Yeah,
use. Like they're trying to
drug use.
they try to make drug use seem so glamorous and good for you, and drinking. They obviously do it with drinking and smoking and all this
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
pot's legalizing pot. It's like pot ain't never cured nothing.
Yeah,
All it
yeah,
did is give somebody the munchies and make you go to McDonald's. It's
yeah.
like,
I never liked it. I've never
yeah,
done drugs.
it's
I've
all
never got into
bullshit
it.
lies, and
Yep,
that's just another government. They see that
yep,
big tax revenue. They see
yep.
revenue. They think that,
Pharmaceuticals too. That's another
yeah,
bad one. All these pills and
yeah, giving out all these pills and people. You, if you're feeling depressed or you're feeling depression, get on a bike. I ain't never seen
exactly.
a bike
Get
not.
into nature.
Yeah,
Get
get
it.
into nature. Fix that. You
Yeah.
want to fix your dopamine uptake level by yourself. Get on a bike.
Right. Right. Even when I was in upstate New York, and
Oh
there's not a
yeah,
lot of sun. There's not a lot of
not
sun,
a
but
lot
I
of
get it.
sun.
I still get into the to nature and
You
walking
got one
among
of the
these
greatest
trees
parks in
and
the world
lakes,
up
and
there. Yeah,
and I was able to connect. You connect to the earth. You're
yeah,
connecting to really, that's, you're making closer connection to the great mystery. I don't want to call it God, but than going to some stupid pews with and singing songs with a bunch
yeah,
of knuckleheads
yeah.
in
Make
church.
make make that park your church. I'll tell you what. It's got everything you need. If you get in touch with the park system and ask them what events they're having, they have concerts, they have meetings, they have classes, they have there's just a million things you can learn. And it's all fun. It's all great. It stimulates the mind. It gets you back to nature. I mean, I didn't even know that was out there until I was like 42 years old after my
I know.
divorce.
I
And then I
know.
started going down
I know.
me and the person I was seeing was like, let's go to the park and see what's going on. And then they gave us all
Yep.
this literature, and there's something to do every day here.
Dude, it's amazing. I mean, I was telling you, remember when I was in Central New York, I went to school out there, and I went to graduate school there, and all I did was bet games like an idiot and watch TV and bet sports. But this whole time, I didn't realize we had all these great lakes and trails. And then once I started hitting that, and then you see like things like you see turtles, and you see,
Yeah,
you see these birds, and you see I seen a kid like, hook a fish in, like while I
yeah,
was riding my bike
kid
by him,
fish.
like what are the odds of that, right? What are the odds of seeing a guy hook a fish right where just as I was riding my bike by him? It doesn't
Yes,
happen
boys
often.
fishing. What's more manly than boys fishing?
Right, right. And those are
Learning
things
how to
that
do that.
that helps you get in touch with nature
Yeah,
and then like you said, like the depression, I'm not I'm not a clinical psychologist, or I don't even believe in any of that crap they're teaching, but like I guarantee you're going to feel a lot better. I don't know if you're going to cure your depression, but you're going to get closer to being you know being more at peace
at
with
peace with
yourself,
yourself. Yeah, less
yeah,
stress, more at peace
yeah,
with
less
yourself.
stress,
Learn who you are, and
yeah,
then you find your
yeah,
interest in life. So from those little things, you find out what turns you on, what makes you, and that's a, a vast variety of things for everybody. It's like not a single one of us likes that same thing that turns you, that makes you special in life. That special thing you do that nobody else does. Going to the park, learning nature, and then look out from there about on the world out here, and figure out what you do the best, what you do better than anybody else in the world. And I guarantee there's something you do better than
yeah,
anybody else in the world. You just got to be able to see it, clear away all the muck.
yeah. Well, and then again, believing that core belief, like there's nothing wrong with you. The world's trying to tell you
There's
there's something
nothing
wrong with
wrong
you.
with you, right?
Right. These life coaches, I can't stand like
The
who's
life
Red
coach is
Pill life
telling you there's
coach and
always something
Greg
wrong with.
Adams life coach and Chris
Yeah,
Cantu life
at
coach
the
and
end of their
Howard Dare
story,
life
there's always
coach and
the traditional life guy. At the end of the story, there's some pill that's going to make your boner harder, and that's going to
yeah,
cover everything.
yeah, yeah,
Jesus Christ!
yeah. It's just terrible. These people, there's something wrong with you. Oh, you got to lose 10
That was a
pounds. Or,
Chris Cantu
ooh,
cure.
oh, yeah, your hair's falling out. What's wrong with you? Your hair's turning a different color. What's wrong with you? Like, no, it's nothing wrong with you. It's part of the aging process, you dumbass.
Yeah, this is
It's like,
the mature
lady.
male is attractive, is strong.
Yeah, yeah,
This is the secondary sexual characteristic of a man. That
right,
fur
right.
on my back is the secondary section. That mat
Yeah,
of fur on my back.
yeah. What's wrong with you? You don't make enough money. What's wrong with you? What's wrong? I'm sick of these. I'm sick of this bullshit.
Yeah.
You
Let
don't
me
do
go make
this right.
sure
You don't do that right.
my son's
Yeah.
going to be coming home from work any minute now. I'm going to
Yes.
jet out for 1 second and make sure the door's unlocked.
All
Okay.
right. Sure. Sure. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with you. That's kind of the. I was arguing with Joe about the name of this chat. We went with every problem can be solved by mgtow, but I wanted to say there's nothing wrong with you, mgtow. That was kind of my core message. I got that from John Trudell. So check out this guy, John Trudell. He's a Native American, Trudell. He's a Native. He passed away a few years ago, but he talked about that. There's nothing wrong with you. That was all like kind of that was like a religious kind of thing that they created. That there's something wrong with it, especially like when we're born, Joe. Like with Christianity, you committed a crime for entering the
You
world.
created a crime. You're a baby. You're just a little, this
Yeah, yeah.
mass of you committed
It's
some kind of crime. Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
You're
runs in your
yeah,
blood. It runs in your blood. There's nothing you can do about it. There's not, and I tell you what, though, Dean Henderson talks about how, like, at least with Catholics, at least they're more responsible and they actually, you have to do good things.
yeah.
With these Protestants, they're just pieces of garbage, man. They're like, oh, there's nothing I can do about my sin. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I don't believe in sin anyway, but the thing is, like, at least Catholics have some type of responsibility in terms of doing good.
Yeah.
Like these Protestants, like, oh, all the good deeds I do don't mean anything because I can't atone for anything. Like they're like the most irresponsible like segment of Christianity are these Protestants. They're even worse than the Catholics.
Well, they gave us divorce.
Yeah,
That's what.
yeah, they're just so ridiculous. I can't stand it being part of that, like singing Jesus songs on Sunday. And listen, I got sucked into that in my 20s. I snapped out of it in my 30s, and I'm
Yeah.
fully cured in my 40s. But these, you're throwing your life away. You start buying into that shit. You're
Right.
throwing your life away. You are literally throwing your life away with that belief system. And like you said, we joke about Jesus says pay your taxes, be a good little slave, pay your tax, like all the stuff. Yeah, there was no Jesus. Like there's no historical fact. If you're gonna make a astronomical claim like that there's this God, that this guy in the flesh who claims to be God, like you have to have astronomical evidence, and they don't have it, and
They
it's
don't
not
know
there. In
it.
fact, the evidence points against a person like that existing.
Yeah. Was there some guy named Nietzsche? Yeah, there was. We have historical evidence. He wrote books. He done this. We have a picture of him. We know where he lived. We know who his parents were. He probably had some number that you can tell he was a real person. Jesus? Well,
Well, and then the whole thing that cracks me up too is like from the ages of 12 to 30, he like disappeared. It's like,
did we really
like
have an Abraham Lincoln? Yes, we did. It's
yeah,
observable truth.
yeah, yeah. It's just, it's terrible, man. They just get you to think a certain way so they can control you. That's all. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And they can control your energy. They can
Yeah,
control
they
your,
control your energy. They control
yep,
your
yep,
utility.
your
That's what they want.
utility. Yeah, they
And
want you to,
MGTOW is
yep.
about keeping your utility in darting off the slave farm, and don't let
Well,
them recover you. Don't let them
well,
bring it.
and yep. And another way they do is they try to create this like utopian retirement.
Yeah,
Ooh, when you're 62, everything's gonna be great. You're gonna be retired.
yeah. Until they steal your 401 twice, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Keep working till you're 62, and then then
Again,
life's gonna be great.
they won't steal it again. Yes, they will. They'll steal it again.
Yep, yep. They're trying to. You know what? One of the things I'm gonna do when I leave this, I am not dying in a freaking hospital. I'll tell you right now.
No, me neither. I'll
No,
just
no,
cap
no
myself.
way. I'll stay in my house in my bed, and I'll just take a nap and listen to me and you on the
Yeah, I'm missing over.
YouTube. I'll be,
Okay.
that's when I'll rest to go to. Yeah, I'm not going to be in some freaking hospital on an IV. No, it's not happening. No, no way. No
You
way.
know, that's what they want for you, so they can take the rest of what you have,
Right, and that's what they're trying
incorporate
to
it
do.
back into their
Sure,
racketeering system.
sure, sure. That's why the best thing, like I was telling my buddy, like he said, he doesn't have a lot to leave his son or whatever. I say, hey, listen. I said, who cares about that? I said, if you leave him with good ideas that makes him a smarter person, I said, that's what you want to leave behind. Never mind what material things you leave behind. That doesn't mean nothing.
I still
You
have
know.
to invent the ray gun, so it puts us on. But I'm
Yeah,
working on it.
yeah, yeah. CJ says good anger leads to change. Yeah, I mean that's true.
Yeah, you're supposed to be outraged
Yeah,
about something. I mean,
that's
outrage is
right.
good unless it's unreasonable outrage. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen some pretty unreasonable outrage. These last few weeks with the shootings that could lead to loss of your freedoms and everything. Outrage leads to that, and outrage management may be needed for people. Peter Sandman, outrage management, you can read all about it. uh, but good outrage, focused, I'm outraged about this, I'm going to do something, I'm going to change it, I'm going to make it better, I'm a man, I could do these things.
yeah,
That's good, focused outrage, and make things better.
yeah, yeah.
There's a
Like you
difference.
said, even like that $5 you give, but yeah, it might not seem like a lot, but it's a lot to that person that's
That's a
getting
lot
it.
to that
Like that
person.
$5 can be difference between having a comfort for the next 24 hours. You buy a little
Right.
sandwich or whatever, that's gonna put food in their belly, and make things go a lot easier for them for that
Yeah.
day.
If
It means a
everybody
lot
did
to them.
that, and charity was, if charity was like that, and and government didn't have their filthy hands on it, there would be so much charity that we wouldn't have poor people, we wouldn't have homeless people, we wouldn't have those problems. You know what?
Right.
The welfare system has to manufacture poverty in order to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
So they manufacture the poverty, then they say, "Oh, look, you need me now." That's tyranny. Tyranny always comes in the form of what I can do for you, and it's always
Yeah.
tyrants.
Hmm. So I gotta stay away from these people, like in general. Like you know,
That's
you
what
gotta
hit.
try to.
Hey, what I'm going to do for you.
Yeah, that's why
Really?
I stay away from these types of people. Like people always trying to like get me involved in like a business idea
Yeah.
that's kind of a scam. Whatever these scam you like get rich quick things and uh, you know yeah, and like you said, even the government too with their
Yeah. Oh, they're coming.
different
They
scams they got going. They
want
got
to get
tons of scams
paid,
going.
and they want, they make more money than most people I know, and they want to
Yeah,
keep taking that money, and that's 100% tax money that could have went to the baby mamas. It could have went to the children. It could have made
yeah.
life better.
It's irresponsible. Like women are they get rewarded for their
Yeah,
irresponsibility.
they get
It's
rewarded for
incredible.
years. Yeah, maybe if we
Yeah,
had that system, someone would say, "Hey, you have to be responsible here. You can't have baby daddy number two, three, four, five. Is just be responsible, and have some agency." And I believe in that, and I think women could develop that way. But it's just when you're giving them free stuff and telling them all you got to do
yeah.
out is go to a bar, spread your legs, and take down the guy's license number, and then you got a slave for the rest of your life. That's not good.
No.
That's not good. Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna head on out here real soon here, and
Any closing thoughts?
yeah, yeah. Just MGTOW solves all the problems. Everything leads back to MGTOW. Angry MGTOW was right about that. All roads lead back to MGTOW. You can solve all your problems with it. The world can solve all the problems if they start thinking about it right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to bow down to authority. I think that's,
Yeah, we
like
need a
that's where
little bit of
MGTOW, yeah. Oh, go
we need
ahead.
a little bit of that rebel mentality. Go read the
Yeah,
Rebel.
exactly. Like Camus talks about, like,
Cam was
yeah,
rebel.
because you can't. Don't be a yes man. Don't be a
Yeah,
yes man. You know, yeah, you have to kind of empower yourself. And I mean, obviously, with an employer, you have to play the part to get the money to live. So I wouldn't advise being a goofball at work or anything like that but there comes a point sometimes you have to leave a job or you have to make a tough decision like that to empower yourself, but be smart about it. You have to, like I said, like that Trudeau was talking, like you have to outthink the system. We're at the point now we have to outthink them, and make that the first step because
yeah. If you're a
you're
MGTOW,
getting
you
away
got
from,
pocket
yeah,
aces. You
yeah,
got a
exactly,
pretty good hand.
right. You're giving yourself pocket. You're dealing yourself. See, with MGTOW, you're dealing yourself pocket. Like you're the dealer, and you're
Yeah,
and you're those two aces that you put in the bottom of the deck that you handed to yourself. That's what you're doing.
yeah.
You're empowering yourself. At least that gives
Probably.
you a fighting chance to at least have a good life.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be perfect, but at least you're going to have a fighting chance to have a good life.
Yeah, stay away from the girls. Don't be effing the baby mamas, and
Right. And cut off simps.
yeah,
Listen, I had a
right.
15-year friendship with this guy, and he was with, he's got this simp psycho Amber Heard, Amber Turd
Yeah,
girlfriend, and I was just done with it. I'm just sick and tired of the drama. I blocked his phone number this week. I mean, he lives 2 blocks away from me. I like the guy. I care about him, but forget it. You're going to be around her. I'm not going to I'm not getting into a triangulation with this nonsense. I
yeah.
just got to cut him
So
off.
they're dangerous little children that never grew up that want a new mommy, and
Yeah. Yeah.
grow up.
So block these people on your phone and just ignore them. You don't owe him anything. You don't owe people nothing. You don't owe them an
Yeah,
excuse or a reason why you stop hanging out with them if they're toxic. Just stay away from these people.
right.
Right?
Yeah, Sims
That's
are
my final
dangerous.
thought.
Remember
So my final thought is that, and also, for men to realize there's nothing wrong with you. Just
There's
because
nothing
you're
wrong with
single and don't have children, and
it. Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with you. There never was anything wrong with you. There's
yeah.
no such thing as you know,
Dave, CJ, and there's nothing
yeah.
wrong. Have, have
JK, nothing wrong with you, JK. There's nothing wrong with you,
nothing
RP.
wrong with you guys. Yeah, when you walk into a room, think you're the best thing that walked into that room this day.
That's right. That's right. Healthy ego. That's right.
Healthy ego.
I'm gonna walk into a Cheesecake Factory in an hour from now, and there's nothing wrong with me for eating a 1,200 calorie cheesecake.
You go to Cheesecake Factory? Nice.
It's right down the road. It's perfect. It's like a mile away from me. I could just drive right down the road, and it's.
I'd be 500 pounds.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm here in this town because we don't have nothing. That's like to keep me
Yeah.
from eating myself.
Well, yeah. Yeah, you got to come out someday and visit. I don't know
Yeah,
what you're
we're
doing.
gonna do that this winter. I'm gonna come out and
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and
bring your bike too if you can. If you can.
oh yeah, if I can figure out how to get my bike out, that'd be
Yeah, we'll build a bike. We'll build a bike out here.
yeah.
We'll build one. Yeah, but yeah, no. Thanks for coming on. For joining. Hopefully we're making a difference. I think we are. I think even if it reaches a few people, hey, it's good, man. That's it. Because just get one person teach another person, and
Right.
hey, you know what? That's how you do it.
Share the mgtow. One person tells another person, that person tells another people. It's just a little trickle, then it's a stream, then it's a river, then it's a fucking ocean. That's why we got to make mgtow into an ocean.
Yep, sounds good.
And with that, I'm going to end the podcast. I want to thank everybody for coming around, and most of all, thanks a lot for being mgtow. mgtows.